Hello, this is Dr. Ranjini, Assistant Professor in Biotechnology Department, Maharani Science College for Women, Mysore. Today, I'm talking on mechanism of biocontrol and bioagents. Microbial interaction. The activity of all living organisms is affected by environmental factors like abiotic and abiotic factors. The abiotic factors include nutrients, water, oxygen, temperature, pH, and light. The biotic factors include organism-organism interaction. This organism to organism interaction may be positive interaction or may be negative interaction. Positive interaction involves mutualism and commensalism, whereas negative interaction involves amensalism, competition, predation, and parasitism. Commensalism. Here, one organism benefits while the other is unaffected. Here, one organism benefits while the other is unaffected. For example, one organism can provide an essential growth factor, such as a vitamin, for another organism. This type of cross-feeding is common in soil organism. Even in microorganism, we witness commensalism. So these are few examples we were explained during our higher primaries classes. In microorganisms, if you consider the commensalism, here are few examples: human beings and indigenous microflora. Formation of biofilm. Initial colonizer helps the microorganism to attach to form the biofilm. Skin or surface microbes on plants and animals host plant and animal releases volatile soluble particulate organic compounds used by commensals. So these microorganisms will be growing on the surface of the plants and animals, and these plants and animals releases volatile soluble particulate organic compounds. So feeding on that, microorganism will grow. Mutualism. It's a type of interaction between organisms in which both are beneficial to each other. Both are beneficial to each other. Example, E. coli synthesizes vitamin K, which is very important for blood clotting factor in small intestine, and in turn large intestine provides nutrition. Another example is the protozoa that live in the intestine of termites. Termites feed on the wood and they cannot digest the cellulose. In turn, the protozoans which are there in the intestine of the termites can digest this wood or the cellulose and into simpler molecules that can be assimilated or absorbed or utilized by termites. The another example is a lichen. A lichen is composed of an alga, that is cyanobacteria, and a fungus. Here, cyanobacteria synthesizes the food uh, as it is an autotrophic microorganism, synthesizes the food in the presence of sunlight, and this food material will be utilized by the fungus. At the same time, the chitin molecule prevents the desiccation of the alga which is there in the fungus or which is there in the lichen. Amensalism. The opposite of commensalism is amensalism. The opposite of commensalism is amensalism, where one organism is harmed while the other is unaffected. Where one organism is harmed while the other is unaffected. A good example of this interaction is when one organism produces an antibiotic against another organism. Such an interaction is often the basis of biological control. For example, some isolates of the bacterium Pseudomonas fluorescens can suppress the fungal pathogen G. graminis responsible for take-all in wheat, Triticum aestivum. Mechanism of biocontrol. Biological disease control is an attractive alternative strategy for the control of plant diseases. Understanding the mechanism of biological control allows us to select and construct more effective biocontrol agents and to manipulate the soil environment to create a conducive condition for successful biocontrol. The innovative applications of molecular techniques have broadened our insight into the basis of biological control of plant diseases. Mechanism of biocontrol may be divided into antibiosis, competition, mycoparasitism, predation, induced resistance, cell wall degrading enzymes, and hypovirulence. According to Handelsman and Parquet, to consider the microorganism as bioagent, it should follow the following criteria. The activity must be associated with a strain that is effective as a bioprotectant, or a metabolite must be identified in situ, such as in the disease situation. The genes coding for the particular product or process must be cloned. The activity of the mutant should be less effective than the wild type parent if the particular gene is deleted. Replacing the genes encoding for the activity should restore the biocontrol activity. Mutants of the pathogen that are not affected by the activity of the metabolite or process should be able to incite disease in the presence of biocontrol agent. And restoring sensitivity of the pathogen to the activity should reduce its ability to cause disease. In addition, other steps such as transformation of the gene and expression in heterologous organisms or induced overexpression in the same bioprotectant also may be adequate to demonstrate the particular mechanism. So these are the few general points that should be served by microorganism to consider it as bioprotectant or bioagent or microbial protectant. Antibiosis. Antibiosis may be involved and play an important role in plant disease suppression by certain bacteria and fungi. This is an interactions that involve a low molecular weight compound, a secondary metabolite, or an antibiotic produced by a microorganism that has a direct effect on another microorganism. The role of the antibiotics in biocontrol has been studied by genetic analysis. For example, phenazine antibiotic produced by Pseudomonas fluorescens against G. graminis variety triticum. Maize mutants were non-inhibitory to G. graminis variety triticum in vitro. Under laboratory condition, mutants were not showing inhibitory activity against the G. graminis. Biocontrol activity was restored in mutant strains when antibiotic production was restored by wild type DNA introduced on a cosmid. When a recombinant DNA technology, when cosmid carrying the gene producing the antibiotic was transferred into the mutant, was able to inhibit the growth of G. graminis. Strain 2279 also produces the another antibiotic, anthranilic acid, a substance that may play a minor role in biocontrol. Similar results were obtained with Pseudomonas fluorescens strain. However, the mutant that demonstrated increased antibiosis were equal to the wild type strain in disease suppression. This is the chart where different microorganisms producing the antibiotics and they are involved in antibiosis, and at the same time what are the target pathogens they are killing. Agrobacterium radiobacter produces agrocin and iturin that agrocin that acts on Agrobacterium tumefaciens. The Bacillus subtilis produces iturin. It will be effective or inhibitory on most of the fungi. Erwinia arbicola produces beta-lactam-like antibiotic, will be targeting Erwinia amyloora. So this is the chart. It will explain different microorganisms and their antibiotics on the target pathogens. Next is competition. This process is an indirect interaction whereby pathogens are excluded by depletion of a food base or by physical occupation on site. Generally, nutrient competition has an important role in disease suppression. Biocontrol by nutrient competition can occur when the biocontrol agent decreases the availability of a particular substance, thereby limiting the growth of the pathogen. So here the microorganism or the biocontrol agent is competing for the nutrient and or for the occupation or for the site of adsorption. So that will prevent or kill the pathogenic microorganism. The biocontrol agents have A more efficient to Biocontrol agents are more efficient to uptake or utilize the nutrients than the pathogens. Example, iron competition in alkaline soils may be a limiting factor for microbial growth in such soils. Bacteria, fluorescent Pseudomonas, produces siderophores have high affinities for iron. So whenever this fluorescent Pseudomonas produces siderophores, so these have high affinity for the iron and they sequester the iron in that soil and they make the soil deprived of the iron. So in that soil where the Pseudomonas is growing, it will not allow the microorganism which require the iron for its growth and development. So bacteria, fluorescent Pseudomonas produces siderophores, have high affinities for iron and can sequester this limited resource from other microflora, thereby preventing their growth, and siderophore biosynthesis play a role in pathogen suppression. Microbes may also compete for physical space or the site of attachment and nutrients for growth. Example, root rot of pine caused by Heterobasidion could be controlled by spraying with spore suspension of Peniophora gigantea, as it cannot gain a foothold for establishment on the host. Thus, the competition for infection site also play a role in biological control of plant diseases. The success of the competition depends on saprophytic ability and inoculum potential. The microorganisms showing competitive saprophytic activity shows following characters: fast growth of the hyphae towards the source of nutrients, the ability of the enzyme to degrade carbon constituents of plant, secretion of fungistatic and bacteriostatic growth products, including antibiotics, tolerance of fungistatic and bacteriocytes or bacteriostatic substances. Next is parasitism. In that we are learning on mycoparasitism. This process involves the direct utilization of one organism as food by another. So here one organism will be utilizing the another organism as food. Fungi that are parasitic on other fungi are usually referred as mycoparasites. Fungus, so one fungus parasiting on another fungus, they are called as mycoparasites. The fungus which parasite on the other fungus is considered as hyperparasite and the process as mycoparasitism. Many mycoparasites play an important role in disease control. For example, Trichoderma lignorum parasitizing the hyphae of Rhizoctania solani. Other Trichoderma species were observed to parasitize Rhizoctonia betaticola and Armillaria millia. Pythium and Pythium non parasitizing various Pythium species. Mycoparasitism is a process by which biocontrol fungi may attack pathogenic fungi. Mechanism involves four important steps. The first stage is chemotropic growth. Biocontrol fungi grow toward the target fungi that produce chemical stimuli like a volatile or water-soluble substance serve as chemoattractant for parasite. So, microorganism or hypoparasite produces chemical substances, they attract the parasite towards it or towards its growth plates. The second step is recognition. The lectins of the host and the carbohydrate receptors on the surface of the biocontrol fungus may be involved in this specific interaction. When the hyperparasite comes in contact with the hypoparasite, there is a specific ligand interaction or the specific receptor ligand interaction takes place. Here, the lectins of the host will interact with the receptors on the surface of the biocontrol fungus. The next step is the attachment and cell wall degradation. The mycoparasites can usually either coil around host hyphae or grow along the side on the hypoparasite and produces cell wall degrading enzyme, extracellular cell wall degrading enzyme, and attack the hypoparasite or attack the host. These enzymes such as chitinases and beta-1,3-glucanases along with complex mixture of synergistic proteins. Not only these extracellular enzymes helps in attaching and binding towards the binding around the hypoparasite, other proteins are also involved. They are considered as synergistic protein and that act together against pathogenic fungi. The final step is penetration. The biocontrol agent produces a pressoria-like structure to penetrate the target fungal cell wall. So this is the diagrammatic representation where the hyperparasite comes in contact with the hypoparasite by certain chemical substances and it start producing certain extracellular enzymes like chitinases and beta-1,3-glucanases, digest the hypoparasite cell wall and enters inside the hypoparasite, and now it will start engulfing or it will grow inside the hypoparasite and it will kill the hypoparasite. So along with these extracellular molecules, extracellular enzymes, there are also the other proteins which are involved in the killing of the hypoparasite and they are called as synergistic proteins, and this will be produced and finally kills the hypoparasite, and that is how the one fungus kills the another pathogenic fungus. Next is nematophagy. Nematophagy. Nematophagous fungi are carnivorous fungi specialized in trapping and digesting nematodes. So these are the fungus, they grow on nematodes. Nematophagous fungi live in nitrogen deficient habitats are of four main groups according to the method they use to catch their prey. One group, some use mechanical means, an adhesive or a glue-like material or a mechanical hyphal trap. Another group, some produces a toxin that use it to immobilize the nematode. Some group parasitic nematophagous fungi are parasitic using their spores to gain entry into their prey. Some are egg parasites inserting their hyphal tips into the eggs or cysts or into the females before the eggs are deposited. Example is Purpureo psyllium can be used as bionematicide. Mycophagy. Fungivory or mycophagy. The fungivory is the another name for mycophagy, is the process of organism consuming fungi. Here, organisms will eat the fungus. Many different organisms have been recorded to gain their energy from consuming fungi, including birds, mammals, insects, plants, amoebas, gastropods, nematodes, bacteria, and other fungi. Some of these, which only eat fungi, are called fungivorous, whereas other eat fungi as only part of their diet, being omnivores. So some eat the fungi as they are fungivorous, but other organisms they eat the fungi as only the part of their diet. When amoeba feeds on the fungus, first they get attached to the fungus, followed by the pore formation, engulfment, and digestion. Next is cell wall degrading enzyme. Extracellular hydrolytic enzymes produced by microbes play a role in suppression of plant pathogenic fungi. So these extracellular hydrolytic enzymes which are produced by the microorganism can suppress the pathogenic microorganism. Chitin and the beta-1,3-glucans are the major constituents of many fungal cell walls. The cell is rich in chitin and beta-1,3-glucans. Extracellular enzymes like chitinase or beta-1,3-glucanases inhibit the growth of pathogenic microbes. Next is induced resistance. The inducible resistance in plants to a variety of pathogens is known as systemic acquired resistance. We are inducing the resistance in the plants against variety of the pathogen. This is called as systemic acquired resistance. SAR. SAR may be induced by biotic and abiotic factors. Biotic factors include necrogenic pathogen, and abiotic factors include natural or synthetic chemical compound or pathogen derived molecule. So that's why it is abiotic factor. It is coming under abiotic factor. Biotic factor includes the pathogen itself. In abiotic factor, we are taking the natural or synthetic chemical compound or pathogen derived molecule. These defense responses may include physical thickening of cell walls by lignification. Lignin content will be increased in the cell wall. Deposition of callose, accumulation of antimicrobial low molecular weight substances like phytoalexins, and synthesis of various proteins like chitinases, glucanases, peroxidases, and other pathogenesis related proteins called PR protein. So defense related protein concentration or their gene gets activated against the infection. This defense system is also triggered when plants are colonized by plant growth promoting rhizobacteria, PGPR. So even PGPR increases the resistance in the plant against infection. Next is hypovirulence. Hypovirulence is a phenomena in which fungal viruses, hypoviridae, significantly reduces the virulent capacity of the pathogen. So, otherwise, if the fungal infection is not there, these pathogens, they are very virulent. They can infect and cause the disease. But when these pathogens are infected by hypoviridae virus, their virulent capacity decreases. So this is called hypovirulence. The best example is chestnut blight of chestnut was caused by ascomycete fungus Cryphonectria parasitica in New York in 1904. So chestnut blight was caused by the microorganism C. parasitica in 1904 in New York City. Hypovirulent strain of C. parasitica fails to cause chestnut blight. That means hypovirulence in C. parasitica by infection with hypovirus has become a model system for biology of fungal viral interaction. That means when the strain of C. parasitica is not infected by hypovirus, it is very virulent in causing chestnut blight in chestnut. But when the C. parasitica is infected by the virus, it is called hypovirus, its virulent capacity decreases. So this is called hypovirulence. When hypovirulence is achieved, it fails to infect the chestnut and causing chestnut blight. The fascination with this system has clearly derived from the motivation to apply hypovirulence for biological control. So, till now, we learned about different mechanism of biocontrol. Now we learn about few biocontrol agents. What are biocontrol agents? These are natural enemies to reduce invasive species populations. We refer to the natural enemies as biological control agents or biocontrol agents. So these are natural enemies where they act on the other pathogenic microorganism and reduces their population or their number. Biological control can be defined as the use of living organism to depress the population of a pest. However, biological control could be more accurately called biological suppression, that is, reducing the population of the target weed to an acceptable level. The target weed or maybe target microorganism. Bacterial biocontrol agent. Bacillus thuringiensis (BT) is a sporulating gram-positive facultative aerobic soil bacterium. During sporulation, produces crystalline inclusions containing proteins known as endotoxins. These are called as cryproteins. They have insecticidal properties. It fights against many agriculture crop pests like Lepidopteran, Dipteran, and Coleopteran larvae. BT also target insects in BT target includes beetles, mosquitoes, black flies, caterpillars, and moths. Mechanism of action of Bacillus thuringiensis. Insecticidal cryprotein called ICP or spore ICP is ingested by the larva when it feeds on the BT sprayed or Bacillus thuringiensis sprayed plantation, and ICP will be solubilized, or this cryprotein will be solubilized in the midgut because it will be having the alkaline pH, and this ICP is actually a protoxin, gets activated to form biologically active toxin. So it requires alkaline pH. When the larva feeds on the BT sprayed the foliage or the leaf or the plantation, it will enter into the midgut of the larva. There in the midgut, it gets activated at high alkaline pH, and this protoxin gets converted into biologically active toxin by proteolytic digestion. After that, C-terminal domain of the actin toxin binds to the receptor of the specific receptor that is present in the midgut region of the larvae, leading to the subsequent lysis of the epithelial cells. So it gets attached to the receptor, there it forms the pores, and then it will lyse the epithelial cells. The spore germination and proliferation leads to septicemia and finally death of the larva. So when the spores start germinating, proliferating in the midgut region or the midgut epithelial cells, it results in the septicemia and finally death of the larva. Viral biocontrol agent. This includes polyhedrosis virus. So these polyhedrosis virus are baculoviruses, though these act as the viral biocontrol agents. So these are the viruses, they can control the other pathogenic microorganism. So these usually act on the arthropods. So 41% of the arthropod viruses develop in host cell nuclei. Virions occluded singly or in groups in polyhedral inclusion bodies. So these are covered by proteinaceous capsid, and these are rod-shaped double-stranded, and they are highly host-specific. They enter through the injection of the plant material, or when they consume the plant material, into the insect gut through mouth and cuticle. So when it enters inside the mouth and cuticle of the arthropod, the virus, it will show the following symptoms. So that will be observed on the surface of the arthropods. So that includes discoloration. The color changes to brown and yellow, and they will be stressed, and there will be decomposition, liquefaction. The arthropod will be swelling in its size because of the accumulation of the watery substances, and the worms become very lethargic, very weak, and the infected larvae hang invertedly from twigs. The host will become visibly swollen with fluid containing the virus and eventually die, turning black with decay. So they will be converted into black color, and then they will be decomposed. Fungal biocontrol agents, this include Beauveria bassiana. Beauveria bassiana is a fungus that grows naturally in soils and act as a parasite on various arthropod species. Causes white muscardine disease and being used as a biocontrol insecticide to control termites, whiteflies, aphids, and different beetles. Spores of the fungus come into contact with the body of an insect host. They germinate, penetrate the cuticle by producing extracellular enzyme. Then they penetrate into the cuticle and they start utilizing the softer portion of the cuticle, and they grow inside and killing the insect within a matter of days. Afterwards, the white mold emerges from the cadaver and they produces new spores. Thank you.